And we're live on Pirate Broadcast, and it's a Friday, and we have a special guest on board, someone from LinkedIn that I met. Oh, heck, it's been probably a year. Real dive in and find out. And then also, I just want to give a shout out to everyone that joins in, everyone that watches the replays and comments on the content, and it's just appreciated. All the gratitude in the world. Thank you so much. We're trying to bring, people from LinkedIn, people from around the world in the Pirate Broadcast to highlight what they're doing, their experiences, and share them with the world so you can connect and enjoy their content and what's going on. And today I have a special guest. Ariel, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Doing great, Russ.
And how long has it been since we met each other?
I think you were right. I think it's a little bit over a year since we met on that group that Staffo formed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The marketing family. I just received a note from Staffo, and he's going to be on the show.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So the marketing family was there, and that's about the time you started. You launched e-learning, isn't it? Or you did that before?
Yeah, a year ago in July.
So happy anniversary.
Thank you.
You survived.
I survived the first year.
Well, and I noticed a couple of other things because you actually had started a new adventure as well that I wanted to talk about a little bit later on, right?
Yes, I have.
Awesome. And also, for those of you who don't know it, Ariel and I are both in a group that is doing some good stuff, and I know that SpeakVets are, it's getting underway, and I know there are a few other people on LinkedIn that are supporting this cause, and maybe because you're more involved in it than I am, and you've been involved in it longer, maybe you give us an update on that and what's taking place with the overall organization and what's taken, how that's unfolding, because I just mentioned it to another organization that needs help with people. Okay. And so this thing there's something there, helping people. You never run out of ways to help people. There's abundance all over when it comes to that.
For sure.
So number one, how's e-learning doing? Talk about e-learning and what it is and how you help and who you help.
Sure. So e-learning Solve designs online course content for marketing and monetization purposes, primarily for startups, ed tech, and entrepreneurs.
And so, we've talked about this before because I've done courses and I've created courses, and there's a lot of people that have courses, and it's evolved. It's really kind of changed over the last, 10 years, maybe.
For sure.
As online learning even became a thing.
Yes.
It's changed. So what are the big changes? What are the big blocks that really have been monumental in this evolution? Because like LinkedIn, they bought Linda for a few pennies, right?
Right.
And so what are the fundamentals that surprise you about e-learning that really some people miss?
Sure. So I think the biggest revelation when people reach out or want to learn about e-learning is the complexity as well as the simplicity that can go into the course design. So it's almost like a Zen koan that, it's complex and simple in terms of understanding scope and sequence, understanding what your goals and objectives are, who your audience is, what types of tools, what types of call to actions do you want your learners to do. Those are really the aha moments that people who say, oh yeah, I can get some mailbox money by just
I'll just create a course and people will show up, right?
Right, I'll just throw it up and it'll start rolling in.
Yeah.
So I think that when it first came out, when online courses first came out, which I actually started, way back in the 80s, if you can believe that. You basically had what you can find now, which are talking heads for anywhere from 12 to 60 minutes, sharing their information.
Yeah.
And that's not how we learn. It's not how we absorb content. You wouldn't do, as a marketer, you would never do that. You would never just talk for 15 minutes straight without moving and having additional. So why would you do it for a course?
Well, that's the beauty of it is the complexity is in how do I want to say this? It takes a lot. It's almost like editing a novel or something like that. Mark Twain once said, if I had more time, I'd write a shorter letter. Right. Because to make it elegant, it takes a lot of design. It takes a lot of thought and process. And when you're walking through somebody in the journey of the UI, the interface, everything has to be kind of right where it's intuitive.
Yep.
You have to have everything, and then interaction. It's like, okay, you have a lesson, you have some questions to make sure that people learned what they were doing. Maybe you have some downloads where some people need to write and take notes, or there's some other things that have to take place in order to really engage the brain to make that movement take place.
Absolutely.
So do you have courses on courses? Are you doing courses on courses, or are you primarily developing this for other organizations?
No, I don't have a course on a course. That is something that's in the works.
It's kind of meta, right?
It is. But I do have I have a document that basically outlines the 10 steps to design a course. And I think in this early part of the summer, before I started my other business, I was putting out LinkedIn videos on the 10 steps. So that way, because my feeling is, number one, going along with Gary Vee's approach of like give away free what you can. Here are the 10 steps. It's not secret. It's not a secret recipe. But you still need an instructional designer. You're still going to need someone with educational background in order to help you design the course. If you're looking for a course, you're the expert in terms of content, right? Yeah. The designer or the educator is the one that understands who your learners are, as well as what it should look, sound, and feel.
Yeah. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Sherry, Janisa, Rob, Kate. All of you are just thank you so much. Really appreciate you being here. Ariel, and I have been involved and engaged in LinkedIn, and this is the kind of activity that really is that I want to highlight and explain to people is the value that we can extend on LinkedIn and other social platforms. It's not limited to LinkedIn. However, we met over a year ago. We talked about courses back then, and then all of a sudden there's a couple of other projects that I want to talk about. We've been going back and forth, Q&A, and if you have, and it's just, you never know where the organization, the relationship, the development, project ideas and goals. And so I encourage everybody to, if you're not connected with Ariel, connect with him.
Thank you.
Thank you. So connect with him. Thank you for taking out the time today and make sure that, people connect with you. So going down to recap on the e-learning, it's a big business. It's a growing business, and people with expertise that have the opportunity to share that. And like I say, everybody has a gift, right?
Yep.
So if you can actually develop that, reach out to Ariel and grab some time. He books your time. He has a way, just like I do, that you can book a conversation with him and see if it's a good fit, see if it's something he can help you with. And e-learning, I'm an advocate, I'm a fan, and I'm excited to see what unfolds in the years to come. So with that note, I want to talk a little bit about the vets.
Yeah.
What's going on? Give us an update on what it is and what is taking place right now with this.
Sure. So SpeakVet is a nonprofit organization. The founder and president is David Gainey, and who's currently serving and will be transitioning out shortly. And it came from the idea of helping those service members who are looking to transition out on 3 areas. Number one, on how to translate their skills into civilian lingo, because the service members have a tremendous number of skills. And, to be completely transparent, I only started interacting with service members and veterans and those transitioning since I started on LinkedIn, which was probably 2 years ago. Really got into it about 6 to 8 months ago. And I have not met a service member or a veteran who has not have a skill. I apologize for my dog in the background.
Hey, we're live. we go with it. We go with it, right?
They're my, I'm in my outdoor office, aka my porch. So
yeah.
So service members and veterans have a ton of skills, and the difficulty is that they have a common language.
Yeah.
From serving, and that language needs to be translated into civilian lingo in order for us to be able to, in order for them to get jobs, basically. So there are 3 parts. So that's the first part, is translating a resume for a service member. The second is providing coaching. Coaching is, you're a coach, Russ, I'm a coach. You can find hundreds, if not thousands, of coaches on LinkedIn. And and so for veterans, there are programs, there are coaching programs, but the fact is it's usually a one-shot deal.
Well, and what I was so surprised to learn is that when the military personnel exit, the amount of education and transitional, preparation is very limited.
Yes.
So, SpeakVet is really an organization to help the transition period. And also, the thing that really intrigued me is there's a lot of people saying, hey, we can't find employees. We can't find employees. We can't find employees. And I'm thinking there's 250,000 veterans exiting out of military space every single year.
For sure.
And, they've been trained by the U.S. government. They've been trained, on their skill and their task, and anything that they can, organization, there's transferable skills that can be developed and honed in order to accomplish a goal out in the field, out in the personal space. And, and this, what David was doing, or what David is doing, and what you're helping with is just a hats off, monumental.
Oh, thank you.
Process.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to highlight that and bring it to the table, because a lot of people don't understand the mechanics of what takes place. They just think people come and go. It's just like any other job, you're there for a few years and then you go find another job. It's not that easy for vets. So
it's not.
So what's the best thing people can do to help David's mission and goal and the purpose of SpeakVet?
Sure. So there are 2 areas. One is that if you know of a service member who is transitioning out, if you know of a vet that is looking for work or looking for a coach, send them our way. If you are a coach, if you are interested in coaching vets, now I want to make it very clear, and this is one of the passions of mine, SpeakVet provides free coaching. The coaches do not get paid. They are volunteering their time. I am a coach. Russ is also a coach. We've got 10 coaches already that are going to be with the service member, be with the vet until they land a job. So it's not a one-shot deal. It's not, a one session, then, for $9,000, I'll coach you till you get your job. This is absolutely, it's free. They've served our country. The way that I've always phrased it when I ever talk to a vet is like, you served and protected my family. This is my way of giving it back.
Yeah.
So, if there are vets out there that are looking, we're going to be offering our first virtual class sometime in December. And in order to access the coaches, you got to take the class on the resume. And David does an excellent job teaching the skill sets. So we are looking forward to that. Again, once we set up the nonprofit, then we'll be looking for sponsors, corporate sponsors, to help expand our reach. So
yeah. Well, and I have some organizations that I've been talking to on the other side of the equation that will need qualified, high caliber employees that are looking to transition. It's not necessarily a permanent place. However, it could be, it's up to the individual. However, opportunities are out there that people need to understand that this is a need. You can help. If you're a coach, you're someone that can actually help and assist in this process. Reach out to Ariel and grab a time on his calendar that you can actually have a conversation. Because once I had the conversation with him, I was like, hey, yeah, I'm on board. I'll be more than happy to dedicate some time to this. And I think it's important, and I think others could be involved in it. So thank you, and hats off to you on that, because, David's doing some great work. I've been on calls with him, and we should probably have him on the Pirate broadcast.
Yes, totally.
This time of day might be a little early for him, but I bet he would. Maybe we'll have a special broadcast.
There you go.
I have a lot of people that say, I can't because I got to take kids to school, and, I got different conflicts, and I'm at work at that time of day. And I want to bring people on that, they're not, they're people doing good stuff in the community that need to be highlighted. They deserve a little bit of shout out. And that's why I'm here, because I can do it, and I'm doing it. And
totally.
And I'm a pirate. So I love this. So the other thing that people don't know about you, that I know about you.
Ooh, I'm scared. Yeah.
Is that you have a little bit of background in, I think, if I'm not correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Is a little bit of understanding about plants.
Yes.
And, also a little bit of chemistry in there, and a few things like that, right? Are you willing to talk about this?
Totally. Talk about it. Yep.
So, this is something that's evolving. So talk about Potney Pros and what is going on, because I don't have the inside scoop. This is like big news and big release. So I'm here to support you, brother.
Awesome. Here's the fanfare. So, Potney Pros is it's my latest company, and it's providing virtual and at-home consulting services for those that are interested in growing pot for medicinal or recreational purposes. I'm based out of Massachusetts, where it's legal to grow pot recreationally, and the idea actually came from eLearning Solved. I reached out to a local veterans group, New England Veteran Alliance, and I was seeing, are they interested in some coaching? Do they have veterans that are interested in coaching or having some courses put up? And they reached back and said, yeah, could you design a course on how to grow pot? And so I was like, sure. And for those that know me, and I've posted this before, I was as square as anything in college. I didn't drink till started drinking alcohol till after. So certainly never inhaled or used pot. So I started doing research, because that's what you do. You start,
Yeah.
right? And it is a fascinating world that is really like the wild, wild west right now.
Yeah.
Calling it like the green rush.
Yeah.
So, and then speaking with my brother-in-law, who said, I do this with wine. Like I make my own wine, and I go to this person who helps me to make it and puts it in his barrels and stuff like that. You could do that with pot. And I'm like, oh yeah, I could, couldn't I?
Yeah.
So it's been a blast.
Well, what's the biggest epiphany that you learned through the process of research in terms of the overall industry? What's the e-learning that you've done, or the learning that you've brought on that most of us would just never have any clue about?
So I would say that the biggest surprise for me was that the United States is so far behind compared to other countries in terms of the research that is being done with pot. For example, in Israel, they are doing research, and they're starting trials of marijuana for adults and now children with epilepsy. And it's having very positive effects.
Wow.
So we're behind. We can't research at colleges and universities, and pharmaceutical companies can't research because it's illegal.
Right. At the federal level.
At the federal level,
yeah. Right?
So technically, like, it's legal for me to grow in Massachusetts, but the FBI could come knocking on my door. Right? And my response is, if they've got time to do that, that means everything else in the world is right, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, if they're doing that, it's like, okay. Yeah. I parked in a handicap spot. You got a raid coming. You got to come to your house. So, I think the world has bigger problems, right?
I think the world has bigger problems. So, so that was the biggest piece. The other piece.
There's a lot of controversy, though. I mean, there's a lot of people that, they go back and forth, and I'm here in Arizona, where there's a lot of. I'm specifically in Arizona, in a retiree, Sun City it's where they have specific parking spots for your golf cart, because most people don't drive anything except their golf cart. So
that's awesome.
I'm serious. So, CBD oil is rampant, and, it's like, okay, you got, CBD oil. Well, it's the THC is removed out, so in some way, and the benefits are still there. I mean, 200 years ago, hemp was a crop. I mean, it was a cultured crop, making fabric and rope and products and services. And it was never illegal until somebody decided, hey, you can get high on this, and we should probably do something about it,
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it was in certain colonies, it was the king ordered it. You had to grow hemp. You had to grow pot, because the environment where the original 13 colonies were set, where it was conducive to it. And frankly, I mean, it's called a weed because it is a weed. It will take over your garden.
Yeah.
So
very prolific.
Very prolific, right?
Yeah.
And it's true that it's ironic that CBD is not regulated yet, and the same thing is true for chocolate. And the chemicals in chocolate, the theobromine, that acts on the same system that THC does.
Interesting.
And so it's the same exact system. It's why if you like chocolate, you can get that quote unquote high feeling or happy feeling. It's activating the same system.
It's the same sensors.
Yep. It's the same receptors on your cells that are receiving that protein.
That's fascinating.
The endocannabinoid. And we don't call it a cannabinoid in the chocolate, right? Because that will have a negative connotation to it. But it's the same. It's a similar protein.
Well, I was talking to Rob, the drunken grape from Rob from the Drunken Grape, right? Yeah. And hemp and hops are, they kind of fall into the same growing trends because they're somewhat related.
Yep.
And beer, as we know, is ancient. Yes. I mean, I think it was actually probably the beer that started farming, because you had to grow crops in order to ferment to the wheat and the hops and everything else. And it's like, that's what started cultivating humanity and moving from nomadic tribes to static farming. And a lot of people, there's a lot of history there. So
there is a lot of history, and I will say, number one, it's still federally illegal to grow. Number two, there are negative side effects to it, just like with any other drug, right? Yeah. So, I've got kids. I'm not growing it personally at home because I've got teenage kids.
Yeah.
When
are they growing at home?
Right. So, and they know that I'm in the business. They're interested. I'm happy to teach them, but we're very clear on, you cannot use it, and here's why. That being said, because it's legalized in Massachusetts, it's expensive. And that's the other reason why we went into the business, because for 1 ounce of pot, which is the daily limit that you can purchase in the dispensary, it can run you up to $350.
Wow.
So one plant in ideal growing conditions can create a pound can create 2 pounds of the flowers that you can then smoke. So, that's close to, $12,000 product that, yes, you can't sell it, but it's on demand. You can have the flavor and style you want. You can do with it what you want. And that's the other thing that I'm learning, that the Gen Zers and the millennials are experimenting with it, but in creative ways. They're cooking with it. They're extracting it. They're finding
edibles. Edibles are huge in dispensaries.
Huge, right?
Yeah.
And those are actually the cheapest in terms of the cost per milligram.
Yeah.
That's really
it's a fascinating thing, and we're just on the tip of the iceberg.
Yep.
Here. And it's like anything else, use it within the boundaries of its best use.
Sure.
Food can be deadly.
Yeah.
If it's abused, right?
Yep.
So,
Absolutely.
Portion control, folks.
Yeah.
Wherever it's legal. So recreational, I wanted to qualify that. I used to have 30 acres. Is that recreational?
Wow. 30 acres. My goodness.
In actually Washington.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm thinking to myself, that would be a good spot.
So yeah, there are recreational users that they fall into two categories. I would say the ones that use it daily, and then there are the weekend users.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's no different than having your own garden, vegetable and fruit garden.
Right.
Or herbs or whatever you're doing, whatever you're using. Like it's an edible. It's a plant, right? It's good for the environment. It helps. It produces oxygen. It doesn't take a lot. It's not. This is the other piece that goes back to what we were talking about before in terms of the complexity and simplicity of it.
Yeah.
It's very simple to grow it because it's a weed. It's very easy. And will take quickly. It can be very complex in terms of wanting the specific type of pot, or if you really want to get a huge crop, then there's a lot of science that goes into it. That's the other piece too. That as a former science teacher, like these guys know their stuff. Like they're talking about glycolysis and pH
And the soil and
Yes,
the pH and
yes, soil and the light meter and the amount of lumens and all that. Like, and I'm like, I used to teach this stuff to kids, but not with pot. Like, right?
Well, that's what full circle. You know, let's bring it full circle. Is the fact that you like botany and chemistry. You know, all of a sudden you're arriving here in an industry that is, you know, barely started, and there's a lot of unknowns about it in terms of the industry itself and the business around it. So,
For sure.
So you could be, you know, Mr. Wizard and the pot going on. So
that's right.
So how do people get a hold of you? Because I know we gotta wrap it up, and you got things to do, and we're busy in life, and I want people to reach out. If you don't know Ariel, go there. I want to also congratulate everybody for, you know, taking the time and learning more about Ariel and the SpeakVet program and some of the things that are going on around us. These are great causes. These are initiatives that people are involved in, engaged in already, and will continue to grow. If you're interested, I encourage you to reach out. So Ariel, I'll put your, you know, there, we have your LinkedIn profile.
Perfect.
Is there any place else that you want to send people to?
So I am on Instagram.
Okay.
And it's ariel.potneypros. You can also find me on my website at www.elearningsolved.com, all one word. And I am very reachable. LinkedIn is probably the best.
Yep.
And I'm happy to speak to anyone about all the things we talked about today.
Fantastic. I love it. I love it. So now the correct pronunciation of your last name.
Margolis.
Margolis.
There you go.
Fantastic. Ariel Margolis. So Ariel, thank you so much. And as you know, kindness is cool. Smiles are free. And you enjoy the day. Take care.